So lately, I've been thinking about pace, not just how fast I work, but how intentional I move throughout my day as a creative. So I want to sit down today and talk about why I'm choosing a slower way to create and a slower way to live as a professional photographer. Now, I want to begin by talking a little bit about me and where my journey began with photography. So, I've been doing photography for about 4 or 5 years now, practicing photography. But in terms of being a professional, I'm really going kind of headstrong into wanting to be a professional and being a bit more consistent. I'd say that's been about 1 to 2 years, almost 2 years now. So, during that time, I was doing a lot of things, trying out a lot of things, especially last year, on what could work, what could get me paid work, what could get me in certain rooms, and what could just fill my portfolio with an array of content and an array of photos and industries that I could potentially work in and work with. And during that time, I definitely felt this need to keep up with trends, to keep up with what other photographers were doing in my area or online. And I just felt like I was chasing something that genuinely wasn't authentic to me and I was burnt out, basically. I think a lot of that is also not having a good routine, but that's something that I'll talk about in other videos. But for this one, I definitely felt that I was moving at a pace that wasn't authentic to me and chasing things and accomplishments that other photographers had accomplished. That wasn't necessarily what I actually, in my spirit, felt like I wanted to do as a creative, as a photographer. When I was trying to make it, and I still am trying to make it. And I think that's a lifelong process of discovering and rediscovering yourself and how you speak through your art. So during this time of trying to keep up with other photographers, looking at them and seeing what they were doing, there's definitely a lot of good in seeking inspiration and looking for advice and asking for advice from others that have gotten to where you're aiming to get to in your career. So I would aim my messages, Instagram messages, emails to photographers that had seemingly doing what I wanted to do. And then I realized it's not really what I want to do, and it's not really what my art wants to speak about. And I feel like I was thinking that to be a photographer or to be a successful photographer or to be a respected photographer, I have to have this in my portfolio, or I have to work with this celebrity, or I have to, work so much for free to the point where I've just got loads of great photos in my portfolio, but I don't have any money. So it was kind of this battle between trying to achieve my dreams based on what other photographers had done and what they felt was successful, and then also feeling torn between me and what actually drives me as an artist and what kind of projects and people that I like to work with. And I took a break. I wasn't posting on Instagram. I wasn't really putting anything out there in terms of like advice and marketing content because I was doing a lot of videos that were kind of offering advice for photographers, but really and truly, I wasn't really embodying that in my life. I was just trying to find a way to attract people to my photography. And what better way to do that in my head, I thought then, was to talk about, different kinds of lighting, talk about, you know, um, different contractual things, which are true. And I definitely knew my stuff about certain things. But in reality, it just felt a little bit inauthentic because I knew that I had a long way to go. And I wasn't really talking about things that I genuinely was feeling. Um, so that kind of just got to a pinnacle. And I was like, well, I need to just kind of like have a break now. And I took some time off. Definitely during that time that I took off, momentum was lost. I wasn't getting any bookings. I wasn't really attracting anyone to my pages. Obviously, not being active on my social media as much was just kind of, I was just falling through the cracks and it was just a bit slow, very slow, to, in fact. But then that time away really taught me to be more intentional, and it kind of brought me back to myself and what I really loved doing, which was the human side of photography, which wasn't about extracting something from someone and always looking for an opportunity, always looking for rooms to enter, always looking for, oh, I need to make sure I'm at that event because this famous person's going to be there and I need to get them in my portfolio so that I look like this for these people. And then I look like I'm the it photographer because I've got this, the fastness and like the pressure. So I just thought, what actually do I enjoy about photography? Look back at my work when I first started photography, when money wasn't really a thing that I was thinking of. I just knew that, oh, I want to do a bit more of this. And I took a lot of photos of people, just not ordinary people in my family, people that I thought were interesting, um, and had something authentic in themselves, whether that was their look, their fashion, or their story. So I kind of went back to that and started to get a bit more intentional with my brand identity and really thinking about, right, what do I like to do? What is my work trying to say? And I think when you're in that hustle bustle and you're really trying to make it, and it's like you want to do this, you lose your voice a little bit because it's clouded by the noise of what you need to do as a photographer. And I think transitioning into a full-time photographer, I was very much focused on, I need to make money, I need to make money, which I definitely want to make money. I'm not going to say here and be like, I just want to be an artist and just live free. Like, money is important. But it just wasn't working for me. I was doing everything other photographers were doing, but it just wasn't working for me. So then I thought, I offer something really special here. Why aren't they booking me? Like, why are they asking me to work for free? Once I took that space, that time away and started thinking, what is my value? What do I offer and what do I love to do? What is sustainable to me? And I think that's the thing when I was chasing what other photographers were doing, and chasing those accolades and chasing those things, it didn't feel sustainable, which is why I burnt out. Obviously, another reason was I didn't have a structure routine, but because it was so like not grounded that I felt scattered. I definitely slowed down and thought, right, my voice is speaking now. Let's listen to that and see. It became something less about impressing and more about just being honest and more intentional. Um, and my work kind of changed a little bit, and I just wanted to make work that was more about witnessing what was already there as opposed to trying to impress people. Um, so that's kind of where my brand shifted and where it's shifting now. And which is why I wanted to start a YouTube channel to be able to show that side of photography as opposed to giving advice that we all hear. More about just giving advice on the creative aspect and the personal aspect behind a photography business, which is yourself. And also, another thing that's really important about moving slower in your craft and being more intentional is that it protects the sensitivity around your art. And within that sensitivity comes your ability, for me, connect more deeply with other people. And it's not just transactional, it's about forming a connection with my client, forming a connection with the people that I'm working with, even if it is a non-paid collaborative shoot. So it just made me more observant, more intentional, less opportunistic, I think, because when you're kind of chasing these things, you hear, oh, this artist is in town. Oh, I know that person that might know them. Da 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 da. You become opportunistic, and I didn't really like the way that that was going for me, and it just didn't feel authentic to me. So yeah, I would like to say also that I don't have it all figured out. This is something that is a constant thing that I'm learning about myself, and self growth and self discovery through art is a constant, lifelong process. But I think I definitely have come to a point where I feel like I'm on the right track, even though I'm just at the beginning. I do feel like I'm on the right track in terms of my brand identity and being the brand and being authentic to myself, to be able to allow others to be authentic and present their most authentic self to me, which would be the people I work with, the people I take photos of, and the people I connect with. What I do know is that when I move slower and more intentional, I just feel more aligned and things start to come into my life that are truly for me and truly make me feel happy and truly make me feel at peace, and not trying to impress, just trying to be me and create from that. And that's been lovely so far. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. And I hope that you enjoyed it. And there's definitely more to come from me on this journey of YouTube being my first sit down video. So I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found something of value. Have a great week ahead. I'll see you soon.